Rich Goteri here. Thank you so much for watching our video podcast today with Nickola Shreli. Um, I'm so proud of this guy. He's come such a long way. He is an actor, a director. He's a writer, producer. You know him from his work in Abduction, Hostel TV show, Low Winter Sun, Cash Only, which was a huge hit for him, which he also wrote, and lately Killerman with Liam Hemsworth, directed by the great Malik Bader. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Nickola Shreli. Hey Nick, how you doing, bro?
Mr. Goteri, how are you, sir?
Good, sir. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you for putting this Zoom business together.
Thank you, Zoom, I should say, really.
A lot of technical. Well, no, it's this is the wave we were talking about. This is the wave of the future, I guess, right?
It is for now.
Difficulty.
For now.
So you're up in the log cabin up north, huh?
I am up north in the log cabin, safe and sound. Yeah, you guys got to come up.
That's cool. I mean, that's amazing how you can still, like we were talking about, scratch that itch, from some remotely. I mean,
being creative is everything for guys like you and I. When nobody could leave the house, the person the most that I thought about was you, because you can't sit still, bro. You're everywhere. I mean, you're all over the world, but I'm saying like literally all over the world. But like to cage you in, are you going crazy?
Yeah, I mean, I generally like operate at a 50-50. I mean, I'm either 50 all in, homebody, cabin fever, just retreating, my own kind of private Idaho, trying to just be creative and do my own stuff and stay in and away from the madness, but then, like I thrive on people, I thrive on buildings. You thrive on
movement.
Yeah. Movement. Yeah. Like you like to be out, doing your thing and, but it's strange times. I mean, I'm still, as of 3 months or whatever it's been, 2 months, still processing all of this.
Yeah.
But I thank you for thinking of me. But you just use it as a time to, if you can't go out, go in.
Hey, I have a question. Do you remember the first movie you ever saw as a kid? Or the first time you went to a movie theater?
Yeah, it was. I think it was Rocky. When was Rocky 4? I think it was Rocky or Rambo. It was definitely some early Stallone business that my dad took me to.
That was the first movie you had
in a theater. In a theater, it had to have been some early Stallone stuff that, like, my immigrant ass dad, like, taking a 4-year-old, all this violence and rated R business. I don't remember the first movie, dude. That's tough. That I saw, the first movie I ever saw, I don't remember that.
Did the Rocky movie, did that do something to you? Like, man, I want to do that? Or when did you, well, we go back a long ways, but when did you know that you wanted to do this or give this a shot?
Well, I still don't know. I still don't know. I just remember, dude, like, I just remember at a very, very young age, like playing with G.I. Joes and wanting to tell stories with these action figures. It was more about creating and telling stories, I think, than
imagination, creativity.
Yeah, I think it was more about that than, you see these young child actors or young artists or singers or performers. Like where they're doing like castings at a young age or
right.
Doing like performing in choir at a young age, where then that's their environment, that's their existence, and then they come up on that. I was always very alone as a child. Like my mother worked afternoons and then my dad was just a very introverted dude. Like he wasn't that, let's go fishing dad and stuff like that. It was just kind of like, yo, dude, here's a couple dollars. Go to the
Go do your
store,
thing.
buy some baseball cards. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it was just, he did what he could. And then my sisters were much older, so I was always very alone. And it's kind of like what Tom Hanks and Wilson.
Right. No, I had the same upbringing because we had my two sisters and I, and then downstairs we had four girl cousins. So there were six girls and me, and it's kind of the same thing, playing alone and GI Joes and using our imagination. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat.
But I think yeah, like I want to say it wasn't till later, dude, till like high school where it was like, okay, where I was kind of playing basketball. I was kind of doing the fun Zach. What was the guy in Saved by the Bell? Zach Morris.
Yeah.
The
You were thinking that maybe you want to do that.
well, no, like when I look at like a guy, Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell, like that guy had it going on. Like he had a cell phone and he was schmoozing and hustling and messing with girls. Like that's what you wanted to do in high school. You wanted to chase girls and you wanted to party and you weren't thinking about like, at least I wasn't thinking about what I want to do for a career when I grow up.
So no theater, no plays.
No, but that's what I'm getting into. So I think there was kind of a bit of a corner that I turned in high school where I think we had to actually shoot something. I forget what class we had to actually shoot something. And again, at that time, technology was still, again, turning a corner. And I think I actually had made something, a little thing that I wrote. I think puts me at junior year. Like I casted it, wrote it, shot it, edited it. And I was like, okay, not only did I create this and tell the story, but I was in it. So like, okay, I can kind of do this, I think. And then, yeah, little theater here and there where again, like I had my troublemaker friends and my hoodlum Albanian friends were like, yo, let's go chase these chicks, or let's go, play basketball. And I was also playing, I played some high school ball up until sophomore year. But then when I'm finding more interest in the theater, it's like, okay, this is telling me something. You got to follow that inner voice. Like if I'm wanting to hang out in the theater more than I am wanting to run around, like, okay, there's something here. But again, going back to the original thing, sorry, I'm rambling, but like when you asked, like, when was that seed planted? Yeah, I always loved movies and cartoons, but from when I was young, it was more about telling stories, I think, than it was performing. I think the performing part of it came, right around senior year of high school. But again, where we come from, it's all about the money. Like there's I guess a pressure and this thing to uphold where like, hey, dude, especially like my parents, my background, my upbringing is like we came to this country with nothing, and we got you guys in a position now to go do something, go get a job, a career, go away to college. So the thought of like, again, Albanian Detroit, which is such a huge part of my identity. Like, again, we're not in New York where there's theaters everywhere and people are performing at cafes and there's this climate. We're not in LA where, or other places like London, et cetera. Like Detroit is you have to seek it. There's not very many outlets, at least for
Back then. Now it's changed.
Now it's a different
I
thing.
think when Second City came, that really opened up so many doors for people, and that's when I met you, right?
Yeah. That's circa 2000-ish, 01, in that kind of that lane.
I think it was
It's been 20 years, and you look better now than then.
It's very iffy either way.
No, you look good, man. You look better now than then, man. I mean, you're holding strong for 20 years. I look like shit.
So that was your first improv class was your first class?
Yeah. I want to say, yeah. I think, well, no, it was with the chick at Second City. I don't want to call her a chick. I may get in trouble now during these times, these
Okay.
Corona Me Too times. I can never refer to as woman as a chick, but yeah, I think what was her name?
Julie, yeah.
Yeah, it was with Julie, and then she's like, you should go connect with this dude on Gratiot, Rich Goteri, and he's got a cool little camp and a little underground fight club going over there. And then
Yeah.
that was where we first hooked them on Gratiot, right? In Roseville.
No, I taught you at Second City in the basement.
Yeah. I'm sorry, dude. You're right.
You drove me crazy.
Yeah.
You always late, remember?
Well, I was late today.
You're always late.
Late
So I'm like, dude, you can't come to class late. And
Yeah.
I'd be like, why didn't you come to class last week? And you'd be like, I was late. I didn't want to come in late. But the other thing you said to me, which I never forgot, and I remember it. You said, dude, I give this thing 10 years, but I got to do my own things. I can't be in my 50s or 40s auditioning for 5-line parts. I've got to make it happen my own self. I have to find things. I got to create material. And man, you've done that. You really have.
It's been
You do both.
It's been a work in progress, because even fresh out of high school, like, dude, you don't, like I said, you don't know, like, you're thinking about life and money, and you're not thinking about selling scripts or acting or auditions. And again, I still hadn't committed to the thought of I'm going to move to New York or LA, where we both had friends going out to LA, or that was just so alien and foreign to me. Like, I had a pretty successful real estate business at that point. I was doing all right, appraising and landlording. I mean, I was messing again with nightlife, promoting, and you're not thinking about, okay, acting or filmmaking as an occupation. So I still, at that point, one of the biggest regrets in my life, still to this day, is I didn't go hard at it then. Because I still believe, and what I've learned is, like, whatever medium that you're into or excited or passionate about, like, you can't worry about the money, dude. Like, the money will always come. You got to go hard. And again, there were just a lot of, hesitance and paranoia and really people, you listen to a lot of people in your ear, like, oh, you can't do that. And, get a real job. And that held me back for a long time. So I didn't, for that decade, really, in my 20s, after we had hooked up, when we hooked up, I was 20 years old or some shit. That 10 years, I didn't go after it. It was nice to kind of go take a class and kind of dabble with it, but I wasn't like.
You weren't all in. You weren't all in.
No, and I think different people, it connects. It's a mental thing, especially for us creatives. Like, some people are just like born with it. You see, like, today, you see like child actors, like, it's like, whoa.
Right.
Like, wow. You see, I was watching What's Eating Gilbert Grape with Leonardo DiCaprio, and like, he how old was he when he did that?
I don't even know. He was a kid.
He was a kid. It's like, dude, like, mind blowing. Like, I couldn't have done that then. And so I think for some people, they have to go through real life, is which kind of becomes them and wires them to kind of give them the necessary tools for kind of that thing to click, like, okay, I can really do this. And I think for me, it was a slower, learning curve. And, like John Singleton, the great John Singleton, God bless him, he died last year. He was kind of one of my earlier, guys that kind of helped connect and, gave me my first real big role in a real Hollywood thing. But like, he had said to me, like, had you maybe, moved to LA, right? Like, around the time when we first started working together, like, had you first gone there,
Right.
maybe you would, who knows what would have happened, for better or for worse. So I think, God or the universe, or whatever, that's a whole other conversation, I think brings you along at your own time. So.
When you did, was it Law and Order in New York?
Mm-hmm.
That's your first professional gig?
Yep. That was 07. You know, that was like, again, like well after I first started learning like structured acting.
Do you think that's when after you booked that and you saw that you could book it and that you could hold your own, is that when you started getting more serious? That was a big part. That was a nice part.
Yeah, no, it was, I mean, dude, of course. I mean, you know,
That gave
that
you
was amazing.
confidence.
Yeah. Again, like I had a freaking car wash in downtown Detroit before it was cool. And I was making money. And so like this dude in New York, John Barham.
John Byrne.
Yeah, John Barham. He's nuts. He's down in Miami now. You know, like was like, yo, I can get you this little thing. And I didn't take it serious. So like I literally flew to New York, came back in the same day. Had I been smart, I would have stayed there.
Sure.
In 3 months, 6 months, a year, I would have kept fucking working it. But it was like, you know, let me just kind of go over there and just have fun. You know what I mean? And again, I still didn't take it serious. Like it was like, oh, that was kind of cool. But like, man, I have this life happening in Detroit, and
Got the car
I
wash.
didn't want to commit to. You know, I'm a bitch in that regard. Like I'm a bitch in the sense of, you know, like when Pacino used to say like theater acting is like without the net underneath where film acting is like,
Yeah.
you know, if you fuck up, you can always call cut. In that regard, sorry,
It's okay.
In that regard, you know, like when Pacino says that, you can kind of apply that again to the acting game. And like we talked about earlier, like I always try and have tried and probably, you know, it's just, we'll continue to try because that's how I'm wired. Like we'll always try to hedge my bet and know
Right.
that there's some sort of protective net. So again, I didn't like the idea of the unknown and the uncertainty. Like I didn't like not knowing that there was no control or say. And that's unfortunately the reality of the game and what comes with, you know, trying to be an up and coming actor. Like you may go there and blow it out the water, or, you know, there's guys that we still know that have been in the game. And so, yeah, it just was like, okay, I can do this and it's real, but I don't know, like maybe again, I still didn't know at that point if it was for me and, you know, if it was just novelty.
So when did that turn around? When did that actually turn around where you said, I'm doing this, this is what I'm going to do, nothing's going to stop me, and I'm going to keep doing it? Because 10 years has come and gone, and you're still doing it.
Yeah, no, it's
20 years has gone.
Yeah, I know. Look, it's been since 2011. It's been, you know, 8-9 years now where it's like, okay, it's real. I make real money. I have benefits. Probably could have did a lot more had I not been so, again, egotistical and so controlling. Like so many roles where they've said they like you for this, but I was like, no, I'm not trying to, you know, maybe I'm too big to do small stuff and too small to do big stuff. So you kind of like,
Yeah, you're in between, yeah.
You get lost and like, you know, I'm certainly not some huge name that's going to trigger financing, but I also feel like, yo, dude, I'm not trying to like go do, you know, dude at the bar,
Right,
guy
no.
at the bar. Like that's just not, you know, I don't need the money. I'm not creatively like motivated by that. I mean, shame on me for saying that, because I think that time on a set, whatever you're doing is good time. And that's another regret I have is in hindsight, you know, these last 9 years, should I have showed up more and tried more? And because you never know, I mean, what leads to what? I mean, but yeah, I want to say like 2000, yeah, like 2010ish, you know, we did Familiar Foreigners. Remember you were in that for a bit.
Yeah, that was great.
You know, that was like, okay, I'm going to just, what can I do? I forget who said, do what you can. I don't know if it was like Winston Churchill or some shit.
Yeah.
Do what you can with where you're at, or whoever said that. But like, I was like, okay, I think I've missed the crashing on sofas, auditioning, LA, New York thing. I had missed it. Not there's any wrong with it. I mean, there's dudes that are fucking 70 years old still chasing that role, and God bless them. I mean, again, I'm just not that guy, but I felt like I missed that youthful, reckless, brave. You know, I had gotten in my own way, and then I was like, okay, well, from here, there's, you know, there's a lot, like as you said, there's more of a scene here now. There's more people with cameras here. There's more audio here. There's just more logistics here. So, you know, we did Familiar Foreigners with to Tom Meredith. Shout out to Tom Meredith.
Sounds great. Yep.
Who's actually, you know, he's in LA now doing great shit as a DP. I mean, he's so talented. But I met him through Chris Breest. Shout out to Chris Breest.
Yeah.
I met Chris on an earlier little indie thing they were doing with Gary Bordeaux here. Shout out to Gary Bordeaux, another fucking Detroit legend. They were doing this thing, Rake Tenor. I don't even think it ever came out. It was like a weird fucking super underground indie Detroit thing. And that was before Law and Order. That was like my first speaking on camera thing. And so I again, instead of being like an actor thinking about lines and just character and, you know, all that stuff, you know, and plus when you're shooting, as you know, you're shooting stuff out of order, so you have to be editing.
Right.
But I was thinking like a producer. You know, I'm looking around saying, okay, dude, I see this audio guy.
Right.
I see this camera guy.
Right.
Shit, let me bring some of this shit for my own stuff. So, and again, that's me getting in my own ways for better or for worse. But
in your own defense, you know, I'm going to go back a little, but in your own defense, you weren't just sitting around. You were writing. You were trying to always, you know, you spent hours and hours writing your stuff. Like it wasn't, maybe you weren't sleeping on the couch, but you weren't just sitting in Detroit doing nothing. You were constantly writing.
No, I was scheming for the big picture. I mean, look, I was making a living, and I was very, very comfortable in Detroit, and you know, I was kind of like the Fonzie. You know, I was kind of doing my shit over here, but I was still thinking for the bigger picture, the bigger kind of
creating your own stuff.
Yeah. But that Rake Tenor thing, you know, Chris Breest and myself and Tom Meredith, we, you know, flash forward a couple years, like Familiar Foreigners was like, okay, again, flashing back to high school, like, okay, I can tell the story, I can write it, I can create it, I can organize it, but like, I'm not going to get some big actor, so I got to kind of do it myself. Like, who better to be playing an immigrant than me? I know the world. I think it's my voice, and that's what I always love to tell young creatives and writers. And you can never compete with fucking the Bourne Supremacy or like Jurassic Park. You have to, if you want to tell stories or do shit for you to be in, you have to do what is in your voice and what you know and what is kind of specific to, because people, you know, in LA or wherever the fuck, they don't want to see shit that they're already doing. Right. That's in movie theaters. They want to see what's kind of specific to your world and your voice. So Familiar Foreigners was like, again, this Albanian immigrant. And I knew guys that like had snuck into the country and illegal immigrants. And again, I mean, in hindsight, was it kind of whack? Yeah, it probably didn't look the best. It wasn't the best performance, and I never even came out. But I got it done, and I was able to kind of use it as some sort of a calling card,
right?
To show people like, okay, this guy can kind of tell a story, he can kind of act. And
can I ask you a question? What is your writing process? Do you write story first? Do you write character first? How does that work with your brain?
I think it should always be about the character. I think it's.
So you start with the character first?
Yeah, I think you kind of want to know like who this person is that you want to take this ride with. Like, you know, where's he been? What's his goal? You know, what moves him? What's he scared of? I think you got to know like who this character is, because at the end of the day, again, big budget, small budget, whatever the story is. I mean, it could just be a guy sitting on a Zoom call. If he's interesting enough,
right,
doesn't matter what the fuck we're talking about, you're going to want to listen to the guy and watch the guy. And So, but again, it is nice to know that the story isn't about a guy just sitting on a Zoom call. I mean, that's kind of boring.
Right.
So, you know, I think once you identify, like, okay, this character, I think his world.
So this character, you create a character, something moves you, you get an idea for a character. So then you start working on the character. Then you put the character in his world or her world.
Yep.
Okay. For some actors,
but again, I'm not beholden to that.
Okay.
I'm not beholden by that. And I've tried it both ways, where I find a world that's very interesting, or a tale or a story that's very interesting, and then I'll have to just really flush that out and beat that out, and then create a character to plug into that. So okay. I think, I don't look with writing. I don't think, from what I've learned, there's no right or wrong way. I think you kind of just got to follow that inner creative fucking voice and the film gods. You got to kind of follow. If something is really talking to you, like whether it be a world that you want to investigate or explore, like if it's dope enough, it's going to get, you're going to get that lightning in a bottle. It's going to pop, and you'll get that momentum, and the character you can always figure out. But if you have like this fascinating character that you can't get out of your head, you know, you'll come up with a world. You know? Right. I don't think it's good to be locked into whatever. But so yeah, going back to, I'm sorry because I have a bad habit. I'm all over the fucking place. Yeah, after Familiar Foreigners, that was definitely okay. Like, yeah, this is real. And then you know, it was Abduction, yeah, with John Singleton, where okay, I can do this. You know, so that's when kind of the real corner had been turned.
When you audition, do you prefer going into the room or do you prefer self-taping? And I've coached you a lot on self-taping, and I know I know you, and you love doing takes, man, which is fantastic.
I'm trash at auditioning. I mean, I'm garbage at it. I mean, I need to feel it. I mean, I need to feel the situation. I mean, I need to touch it, taste it, lick it, grab it, punch it. I need, even when we're shooting, I always want the other guy that I'm working with, his coverage to go down first.
Right.
And then me to come after. Because again, like, you need to fucking feel it, dude. And you need to really fuck it up good to get in rhythm. And there's something about wardrobe and about set and props and just all of it that is kind of replicating real life, that just helps you. You know, when you're shooting on location, and like when we were doing Killerman, when you're in Chinatown, like, that moves you.
Yeah.
You feel that. You bring that into your performance. So for me, the auditioning process sucks because you can never replicate all of those elements, whether you're in a room or on a tape. I think I do prefer a tape because, again, it's me being a bitch again. I can control and manipulate a lot of shit, and I can kind of direct myself, and okay, I can cut that and elevate that and fix that. Where I think going into a room, I think in the end of the day, it's the minute you walk into that room, within seconds.
Yeah.
If the director hasn't already picked somebody, which, let's face it, 8 times out of 10, the fucking director has already selected someone for that role, or the producer with the financing of it all has already selected somebody, and they're just putting that breakdown and that audition out for the sake of status quo, to make the casting rep feel important and relevant, which a lot of times, and I'm going to kind of like talk some shit here. I really don't give a fuck, you know, who hears this, but you know, like, these casting directors, they're very talented. They're very important. They're great people, but the system is designed for them to really be like, you know, I don't know what they're there for. I mean, why are you holding auditions if the producer and the director have pretty much already, and I've been on the flip side of it, like where I've picked the actor Like, why are we having these auditions?
Right.
I'm just wasting everyone's time, and it's not fair to the process and the protocol of putting a film or a project together. Like, why are you wasting people's time if you already know who you're going with? So whatever, rant over. But I think if they haven't already have a choice, I think that casting director knows if they legitimately have been given some power to in creative liberties. I think that they already know. Within 20 seconds of you walking in the room,
Yeah.
whether you fuck that casting up,
Yeah.
They know.
10-second rule. There's a 10-second rule. I forgot what it is. That in 10 seconds they know.
Yeah. So I think that is better to be in a room. Like I did a show, the Red Road on Sundance Channel with Jason Momoa, Aquaman. I was a lead villain of that series. That project was a limited series. It was James Gray. It was like amazing filmmakers. Nobody saw it, unfortunately. It was just very limited. It was Sundance Channel, and I don't know, whatever. But I mean, I blew that audition. I remember leaving that audition thinking to myself, like, damn, I fucked that one up. Like, there's another one. Like, there goes another down the tube. I messed up. Where they hollered right back at me. They called my manager up and was like, okay, he's got it. I'm like, really? So I think that was just a product of, you look a certain way. And
Where did you shoot that?
Atlanta. Good old Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta, Georgia's been good.
Yeah, Georgia was leader of the pack before all this Corona.
Yeah. I want to talk about Cash Only and your relationship with Malik Bader, the director, who's a great director, great guy.
He's all right. He's overrated. No,
Oh, that's funny.
I'm not talking about the director. Malik, the director's brilliant film mind, but Malik, the friend, is all right. He's,
You're terrible.
He's okay.
You're terrible. I want to get him on this podcast.
Yeah, he'll do it. He's got nothing going on right now.
I'm gonna get him before he's busy. Cash Only. Just explain the whole. So you wrote this based on what? So people know what it's about if they don't know. It's a great movie, fantastic.
Yeah.
Did very well for you.
I don't know if it's great, but
it is great. I love it.
It was.
I'm not the only one, man. There's millions. I mean, it's a big hit.
Cash Only was it was It was like my friend during some dark times. That's fuck. I have a love-hate with that film. And shout out to Ely. Look, I cannot talk anything Cash Only without mentioning Ely Barda, who, he was such a partner and brother. And that thing was like, it was hard to, it was just a hard thing to do, dude.
It was a hard shoot.
Just everything like that. That's why when you mention it, it's like, shit, like I can like throw this computer across the room and I can cry and I could laugh, like, because it could have been so much more had we had the time and the money.
Sure.
But in the same token, like, that's also what I think made it special, because the stress and all the limitations really drove it and made it kind of gave it that energy that I think why it makes it special in a lot of ways. But so yeah, we'll come back to Ely and Malik, I'm sure. But I was a landlord in Hamtramck, Balk in Detroit, and a lot of memories, for good or for bad during that time in my life, and they just stuck with me. It was just a very interesting world that I got to kind of dabble in and live. And I think when I was in Pittsburgh shooting the John Singleton thing, Abduction, I had like a 2-week fucking down. I was on hold for like 2 weeks. And I wasn't doing nothing. And I was like so paranoid. I'm like, you know what? If I go back to Detroit, because you know when you're on hold, you got to stick around. Like you know,
Stick
like the
around, man.
actors out
Yeah.
there, like if you're on hold, they're paying you to like be on
It's a
hold. Be
hotel room, yeah. Yeah.
So with my stupid ass, I'm thinking, okay, if I go back to Detroit, like, you know, I'll break my leg or something. And then if I go to New York, like I'm thinking like, what is the coolest, most happening places? So I had friends on the East Coast like, yo, dude, you're in PA, come through, come to Philly, come to New York. I'm thinking, dude, I'll go.
You'll never come back.
I'll fuck something up and like mess their whole movie up because they had already got me on film. And so I'm like, man, I got to just stick around local.
Right.
And what can I do? I go, let me just kind of write. And, you know, I was just drinking and smoking and writing. Like I kind of got
downtime is dangerous on set.
Yeah. Like I had gotten into like this freakish zone, this creative zone. And Michael Nyqvist, the guy, the legend from Sweden, he recently passed away. Oh. Amazing actor, and such a nice man. Again, God rest his soul. Like we spent some time during that downtime. He was the star of one of my favorite Swedish trilogy films, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Yeah, there was a girl, the Swedish or whatever, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the girl that kicked the hornets. There was like 3 of them. So like I was starry-eyed. Like everyone, you know, the star of that movie was Taylor Lautner. Like there was people standing outside of the fucking hotel, like hundreds, thousands in the streets of Pittsburgh waiting for Taylor Lautner. But then like I'm looking over at Michael Nyqvist, like starry-eyed. So and then Maria Bello was there.
Yeah,
Maria Bello. Again, I spent a lot of time with her. Again, I'm trying to like paint the picture. Like there's like Maria Bello's around, Michael Nyqvist around. You're on hold. Like you're using that for fuel to your fire. And yeah, I started writing this thing called Landlord, and I just kept seeing the scene where this dude is dealing with some rowdy ass tenants in underground Detroit. He gets knocked upside the head, and they steal his daughter. They kidnapped his daughter. That they kind of back to process. That's kind of what triggered it. A dude collecting rent, dealing with unruly tenants in this really seedy underground kind of ethnic ghetto Detroit world, and that I kind of had some experience with, and that's what kind of kept replaying in my head. But then again, with respect to writing, I did short stuff. I hadn't done a full length yet. So I had to really, and I had no structured writing education or knowledge. Mm-hmm. So I had friends such as like Daniel Casey, shout out to Dan Casey, and different guys like with Detroit guys and homies and friends where I could kind of pick their brains because they were doing it for real. Yep. We're AFI guys and, educated, smart, kind of like where they're kind of asking me about my opinion and input on authentic stuff. And, hey, how would somebody say that in dialogue? And where I would ask them, well, how do you, what is inciting incident? How does act 1 go? How, like all this stuff. So yeah. The more and more I try to research how to do it or what is the right way, I was feeling like, man, this is getting in the way. I just got to get it out. And you deal with the right way. And you you just got to get out kind of what these people are and what they're trying to do. And, so yeah, I really, like I said, I had skeleton drafts of it all through, like 2011. I was just using that as kind of my film school. Right. Like this is okay. I've kind of now figured out how to act, but okay, writing something like this is not in a week or a month or even a year. Like I got to really use this in my off time is kind of an outlet and a mechanism to kind of keep hitting that draft, and I built that thing up and tore it down. Oh yeah. And you remember that, like, yep. Easy 15 times over a year and a half, two.
Easy 15 times.
And that's the ultimate rule of writing is rewriting is writing. I mean, you know, in every draft, it just kept getting stronger and better. And then, you know, you're thinking about money. Okay, there's $1 million version of this. You know, there's a $5 million version of this. But like knowing that, okay, this is going to have to be done for under $1 million, under 500K. And who the fuck makes a real big movie like with a bunch of people and dogs and props and cars and locations? Like, how am I going to even water this down and attain it and streamline it while still upholding, you know, what I want to get across, you know? That's kind of was the initial, I guess, genesis and inspiration, you know.
And I just noticed the other day that it's on Amazon Prime. If everybody wants to watch it.
Yeah, they moved it from Netflix to Amazon Prime. I guess, you know, it's business, whatever, the distributor. But yeah, it's, you know, it's got a great, still to this day, I feel like, cult following abroad, and it's aged really well, like fine wine these last, you know, 3-4 years. But yeah, then actually after you write it, okay, getting it, it's like a whole other fucking saga, you know. And then even shot, getting it, you know, the post and all of that stuff, and then okay, you have it all mixed and colored and blah 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 and edited, delivered. You know, now you got to go and get eyeballs on it.
Right.
Okay, you get eyeballs on it. You know, you gotta, you know, even, you know, there's many of films that even do get released that don't get seen. You know, so there's many levels, and you got to be fucking nuts and to want to expose yourself to that torture.
Well, you have to have a love for it, which you do. I'm gonna wrap this up, buddy. I appreciate it. What's next? Any ideas? What got going?
I mean, yeah, there was some interesting stuff kind of queued up. You know, we did after Killerman, which there's some good stuff about that project, a lot of underwhelming stuff about that project, but you know, we've had some stuff kind of queued up that you know, smaller, that we can kind of just do in house.
Yeah.
Talking about shooting in Detroit, you know, there's this film about an Uber driver.
Right.
Kind of an interesting thing, and like that was kind of queued up to go, but then like Corona hit. There's a bigger feature where it's like, again, the industry's at a standstill. You know, I think like with what you're doing, you know, the podcasting of it all, you know, the virtual YouTube. I mean, I think there's going to be so many more lanes and levels that are going to have to be kind of as far as, you know, different outlets and different things, you know, to kind of do in place of the traditional, you know, like we talked about, like, I don't know castings, how that's going to work. Right. I don't know how elaborate sets with a bunch of people are going to work. I mean, they just shut California down for us, but I think we will probably shoot something contained just to stay active.
Yeah.
You know, and that's it, man. I have, you know, other business going on. I mean, you know, I have.
I apologize to people too who are watching, because the internet's been going in and out, you know, going a little wacky with the wireless internet from just the way it is.
Well, yeah, Rich is in fucking Michigan. And,
well, my internet's strong, man. It's just, you know, sometimes it's just who knows what it is.
Yeah.
But,
no, there's, you know, we'll see, but you know, I'm really enjoying this time in certain ways to kind of like be present. You know, I think way too many people were thinking about, you know, tomorrow and 6 months and next year and freaking and rah, and you know, so it's brought this sort of sense of presence and you know, kind of going inward and just taking it easy. you know, and kind of resetting. And so, yeah, you know, I'm thinking and absorbing, and I have a couple tricks on my sleeve, and you know, we'll see on the other side of this what goes down, dude.
Well, I appreciate your time, bro. Really, I really do. You know, I love you and I appreciate you.
Well, I love you, and I miss you,
Yeah,
and
we miss each other.
it's like I said, it's nice to just talk and catch up outside of, you know, whatever purpose, outside of, you know, the YouTube of it all. It's just, it's good to like, I feel like we've all been like, again, it's like some weird sci-fi movie where it's like when you see somebody, it's like, oh,
Right.
there's another survivor.
Right. Right.
It's so good to see you, you know, it's hear your voice,
Yeah.
and, you know, this weird quarantine fucking movie,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, thank God we have something like this that we can communicate.
Well, yeah. What about if it would have happened? You know, if this would have happened in like '99,
Oh my
you know,
God.
like pre fucking high speed, you know, or pre Instagram, or pre
Dial up.
yeah,
The old
yeah.
AOL dial up. All right, brother. Listen, I'll talk to you soon. And yeah, hopefully you come on again and promote whatever's coming up next.
Yeah, hopefully we'll do some of that scene study business you got cooking.
Yeah, man. Any Wednesday, please. You know,
That'd be
you're always
amazing,
welcome. You always come into the masterclass. We love having you. So please.
dude. I'll drop in.
All right,
Fucking
brother.
make some noise.
Thanks again, buddy. Talk to you soon.
All right.
All right.
Be safe.
You
Good.
too.
Thank you.
Okay,
All
bye.
right. Cheers.